Good day, we are here to present our audiovisual presentation with the topic of accident investigation. So, in this video, we will talk about accident. What is accident? Why accident happens? Accident investigation. Goal of accident investigation. How do we deal with these incidents? Two types of workplace incidents. uh, Investigation and root cause analysis, factors that investigators look for, learning from accidents, who should do the investigating, what should be looked at as the cause of an accident. So, let's proceed.
An accident is an intentionally caused event. In most cases, the term is used specifically in reference to unintentionally caused negative events. Accidents which take place in the workplace are referred to as occupational accidents. Workplace accidents include events that damage property, inhibit a particular workplace function, or cause harm to a person located in the workplace. Occupational accidents are also referred to as work-related accidents, and the personal harm they cause may be referred to as an occupational injury, occupational death, or other label which specify that the cause of the harm was occupational in nature. There is no universal criteria for what is and is not considered to be occupational accidents.
After knowing what this accident is all about, it is the time to know, understand, and learn why accident happen. Accident from our home, and most especially on someone's job or workplace. Home. Our home need to be peaceful, cozy retreats where we may unwind, but not all the time it feels the same way around. In America, for example, there's more than 18 workers pass away from home-related incident each year, serving as somber reminder to all of us that our efforts are what makes our home safe. Falls. Falling from sketchy and high slope part of our home can cause home-related accidents. People can fall in their home, for example on ladders, step stools, stairs, shower stalls, and chairs, to name few hazards. Unintentional fall-related injuries can also caused by irregularities like uneven floors, poorly installed doors and door jambs, and loose hardwood and tile. In terms of job and work-related accidents, there are many jobs offers easy jobs with high profit, but in our country, as long as we receive income, we do the job. Accident-prone jobs are mostly outdoors. For example, logging workers, garbage and recycling collectors, iron workers, delivery drivers, farmers, firefighters, lastly, power lineman workers. In every job and workplace you're pursuing to work, the first thing you do is to check to see if management is enforcing safety regulations and that employee are adhering to them. An urgent issue is for failing to adhere to OSHA regulation and consensus standard intended to reduce dangerous circumstances. Lack of safety can result from a variety of factors, including improper PPE use and disregarded for safety regulations or even neglect of routine maintenance. When ignored, each of these elements contribute to rising workplace hazard levels. Next to it is assess whether there's sufficient visual reminders or in-depth training accessible. Without frequent reminders, staff members could neglect a task or overlook a crucial aspect pertaining to their personal safety. Lack of adequate safety training or general jobs training make this situation worse. Lastly, certain mishaps are unavoidable. Human mistakes can always be avoided even when all necessary safety measures, laws, protocols, and protective gears are in place to guarantee the worker's safety. This can takes the shape of the straighted forward error, a system that suddenly malfunctions and despite routine maintenance or even just plain ineptitude, if and when any of these particular situations happen.
Accident investigation. This is a systematic process of gathering, analyzing, and evaluating information about an accident in order to determine what happened and why. The process of accident investigation typically begins with the collection of evidence at the accident site. This may include physical evidence such as broken equipment or skid marks, as well as witness statements and photographs. The evidence is then analyzed in order to reconstruct the accident and determine what happened.
Goal of accident investigation: determination of the contributing factors to the incident and an understanding of why or how those occurred at that moment to find areas to improve. Determine the cause of an accident. So, ano nga bang sanhi kung bakit tayo na-aksidente? First is poor lifting techniques. Next, low light conditions, trips and falls, workplace accidents and fatigue, contact with moving objects, messy workplace environment, lack of necessary equipment, and too many distractions. Prevent similar accidents from happening again. Accidents are unplanned occurrences that results in injuries, illness, death, and loss of property and production. While there is no way to completely eliminate accidents, there are certain plans, preparations, and actions that can be taken to reduce them. So, paano nga ba natin maiwasan ang aksidente na nangyari na sa atin? First is pay attention to workstation ergonomics. Be aware of surroundings. Look around and identify workplace hazards that could cause harm. Look for ways to reduce or eliminate hazards and implement them. Report unsafe areas or practices. Dress for the weather. Thank you.
An accident incident refers to an unforeseen and unexpected event that results in injury or damage. Accidents can happen in variety of settings, such as on the road, in the workplace, or at home. And here are several steps you can take to deal with an accident incident. First is stay calm. It's important to stay as calm as possible in order to assess the situation and take appropriate action. The second is check the injuries. Make sure that you and any others involved in the accidents are not injured. If anyone is injured, call 911 or your local emergency services immediately. Third is move the vehicle to safe location if possible and safe to do so. Move the vehicles involved in the accident to the side of the road. The fourth is gather information. Get the names, addresses, phone numbers, and insurance information of all drivers involved in the accident. Also take note of the make, model, and license plate of number of each vehicle. The fifth one is call the police. Even if the accident is minor and no one is injured, it's always a good idea to call the police to report an accident. Sixth is document the scene. Take photos of the damage to the vehicles and accident scenes if possible. Then last is notify your insurance company. Contact your insurance company as soon as possible to report the accident. They will provide you with instruction on how to proceed. It's important to follow these steps as closely as possible to ensure that you are prepared in case of an accident. Stay safe.
So what is near misses? It is an unplanned incident where no personal injury or an event that has the potential to cause, but does not actually result in human injury, environment or equipment damage, or interruption to normal operation. Some examples of near misses are a worker tripping over an object on the floor but catching his fall by grabbing onto a table. One worker opens a door, almost hitting another worker, but she backs up before the door hits her. And a worker loses his balance while standing on a stack of boxes to change a light bulb, but lands on his feet. For short, it's an accident that's waiting to happen.
Two types of workplace incidents. One is near misses or near miss, which is an accident waiting to happen. An incident which under slightly different circumstances could have resulted in injury or damage to equipment or materials. It warns us that a certain action may lead to an accident. It is much better to learn from near miss or near misses in seminars than the real accident. For example, an employee placed some of the materials or equipment over the shelf where those materials and equipment must not be placed on. And then, his coworker tries to get some containers under that shelf, and right after he pulled those containers, the shelf collapsed. It is just luck that the coworkers has some good distance to the shelf that saved him from that accident.
These are the things to do when the accident happens in the workplace. Provide first aid if you're qualified to give it. A person with the knowledge to give first aid will be helpful to help the victim until the arrival of the medical personnel. By giving first aid, this will help to lower the risk of severity of the injury or illness of the victim. Second, call for medical personnel immediately. After, or much better, before performing first aid, workers or anyone near where the accident happened should immediately call for medical personnel to help the victim. Third, notify appropriate supervisors and managers that's not present at the site of accident. By informing or reporting the accident to the supervisors and managers in charge who aren't within the site of accident, they will have the knowledge and information of the victim which they will need. They can also relay the report to the higher-ups of the company or industry in order to provide the needs and aid for the victim. At last, the site of accident must be secured to avoid providing harm to other workers and to secure the evidences needed with the investigation of the cause of the accident to avoid tampering evidence.
Investigation. An accident investigation usually begin immediately after an incident. Investigators will conduct an interview that requires all the information you know regarding the accidents and your honesty. Information about the workers, site where accidents happen, and the working condition at the sites. Next is investigation and root causes analysis, or vital part of any accident investigation. Root cause analysis, or RCA is the process of discovering the root causes of problems in order to identify appropriate solution. To perform an effective root causes analysis, there are 6 main steps that you need to do. So first, define the problem. The first step when performing root causes analysis is to analyze the existing situation. This is where the team identifies the factors that impact the problematic event. So second, collecting the data about the problem. A critical step in root cause analysis is the collection of relevant data about the incidents or the problematic event. Third is determine potential causal factors. Creating a sequence of event is important to identify causal factors that can contribute to the observed problem or event. Last is determine the root cause of the problem. This is the time to identify as many causes as possible.
Next is prioritize the causes. Once the root causes are established, they need to be prioritized and tackled accordingly. To determine which cause or challenge to address first, the analysis team needs to assess what is the impact of the cause. The higher the impact, the greater its priority. So, the next is solution, recommendation, and implementation. Next step upon establishing root causes and their prioritization is finding solutions to the problem and their implementation. Brainstorming is a great way
to attempt and come up with a variety of potential solution scenarios. So the next topic is all about the factors that could have contribute to an accident. So the first one is the factors that investigators look for. It is the faulty equipments including gloves, heavy-duty latex, surgical, and cotton. Disposable shoe covers, disposable jumpsuit, anti-putrefaction mask, and portable eye wash solution. So the next is lack of training. Employees who have not been trained properly will produce less work and at a lower quality. Less knowledge and training lead to a lower level of performance, resulting in less profit. So this the type of work often leads to errors, quality issues, time loss repeating activities. So the last is the absence of appropriate policies and procedures. Without strong policy and procedures in place, you may experience more workplace issues. And also, policy and procedure helps you identify and monitor areas of risk in your organization, including harassment, discrimination, safety, and misconduct.
Factors to prevent an accident. The first one is policies. To prevent an accident, constantly follow the company policies or guidelines when inside of our workplace so we can prevent an accident while on duty. The second is training. Some company give us a training on how to prevent accident, and they also give a training of what to do in case an accident occurs. Third is the equipment. Always utilize safety gears at all time while entering the hazardous areas of work to help prevent a small or large incident when performing our duties. Last but not the least, communication. Communication is the key to prevent an accident. It is needed to ensure roles and direction are understood to warn against danger, avoid unsafe practices, promote critical emergency responses, and particularly learn about the concern and hazard that workers encounter daily. Additional, always remember that report near misses. Safety is our top priority. Cooperate with the investigator. Communication is very important.
So the question here, who are authorized to conduct an investigation? So ideally, an investigation would be conducted by someone or a group of people who are first experienced in incident causation models. So a causation model can be used to determine the cause of a particular event or outcome. Next one would be people who are experienced in investigative techniques. So, investigative techniques are methods and procedures used by the investigators to gather and analyze information in order to solve a crime or uncover the truth in an investigation. So, next, people who are knowledgeable enough of any legal or organizational requirements. For further information, it will be discussed by Gilbert Torres.
So next is knowledgeable in occupational health and safety fundamentals. And the next is knowledgeable in the work processes, procedures, persons, and industrial relations environment for that particular situation. And next is able to use interview and person-to-person technique effectively, such as mediations or conflict resolutions. And last is knowledgeable of requirements for documents, records, and data collections, and able to analyze the data gathered to determine findings and reach recommendation.
What should be looked at as the cause of an accident? Before further explanation of the categories of causation model, I just wanna define what is that model. This model refers to the illustration of the causes of a particular incident or accident. It also refers to the investigations happens in any workplace to understand where the incidents or accidents started, to prevent it from happening again. There are three types of accusation models that developed by the occupational safety professionals since early 1930s. First is the simple linear models, second, complex linear model, and lastly, the complex nonlinear model. These types of models recognizing the cause of a series of events. On the other hand, causation models assigning factors into a group, there are 5 categories. First is a task. It is the procedure in examining the incident at the time that happened. The investigations will look up the answer for the following questions. First, was a safe work procedure used? These questions determining the outcome of an hazard assessment, and this should know if the safety measures was practiced and implemented to the particular workplace. Second, had conditions changed to make the normal procedure unsafe? This could include changing the work process. It described the overall process or method that used to change and make the normal procedures unsafe. Next, was the appropriate tools and materials available? Answering the questions, does the tools and materials are safe and right to use? It really helps to identify the appropriate tools and materials to help you avoid some incidents while working. Next, were they used? It talks about the proper using of things if they use in a certain task with a safety measure. Next, was safety devices working properly? It discussed the safety equipment, also known as the personal protective equipment, by wearing appropriate safety equipment during the work happens. It decreased the preventable accidents or incidents that occur on workplace. Lastly, was lockout use necessary? It is required to determine if lockout use or the unexpected energization or startup of machines, equipment, or prime movers could injure workers during their jobs. It is programmed to control hazardous energy.
Material. Investigators should look for possible causes resulting from the equipment and materials used by asking questions such as what type of materials were used, like metal, plastic, wood, glass, ceramics, synthetic fibers, or composites that made from 2 or more materials combined together. Second, how were the materials stored and handled? This can prevent accidents and improve the efficiency of facilities. Third, were any special process used, like welding, heat treatment processes, and application of coatings. Fourth, were any materials substitute or mixed together, like raw material substitution through the use of waste as raw materials that produce less hazardous waste. Fifth, was there any prior damage to the materials, like physical loss or destruction to contents? Sixth, do any of the materials have any known sensitivity to heat, cold, pressure, or other environmental factors, and that can affect everyday living? Seventh, were any materials exposed to extreme conditions during the project, like reactive chemicals and gases? Lastly, were any materials of inferior quality or the product that does not meet its specification or poor quality?
Work environment. The physical work environment, and especially sudden changes of the environment, are factors that need to be identified. The situation at the time is what is important, and not what the usual conditions were. What were the weather conditions? Was poor housekeeping a problem? Was it too hot or too cold? Was noise a problem? Was there adequate light? Were toxic or dangerous gases, dust, or fumes present?
One of it is the personnel. The physical and mental condition of those individuals directly involved in the event must be explored, as well as the psychosocial environmental they were working within. The purpose of investigating the incident is not to blame against someone, but the inquiry will not be complete unless the personal characteristic or psychosocial factors are considered. So here are the possible questions that you can ask if there are incident among the personnel. So first is, the worker followed the safe operating procedures. Second, were workers experienced in the work being done? Third, had they been adequately educated and trained? Fourth, can they physically do the work? Fifth, what was the status of their health? Sixth, were they tired? Seventh, was fatigue or shift work as an issue? Eighth, were they under stress, work or personal? Lastly, was the pressure to complete the task under a deadline or to bypass safety procedure?
Management. Management holds the legal responsibility for the safety of the workplace. Therefore, the role of the supervisors and the higher management and the role or presence of the management systems must be always considered in an incident investigation. These factors may also be called organizational factors. Failures of management systems are also found to be direct or indirect causes. These are the following management system that must be considered in an incident investigation. First, were the safety or the safe work procedure communicated and understood by all employees? Second, were written procedure and orientation available? Third, were the safe work procedure being enforced? Fourth, was there adequate supervision? Fifth, were workers educated and trained to do the work? Sixth, had the hazard and risk been previously identified and assessed? Seventh, has procedure been developed to eliminate the hazard or control the risk? Eighth, were the unsafe condition corrected? Ninth, were regular maintenance of equipment carried out? 10th, were regular safety inspections carried out? And last but not the least, had the condition or concern be reported beforehand?
Thank you for listening and watching sincerely on our video. I hope you understand the different types of definition of accidents, why it happens, and what is the solution to prevent and overcome to this kind of problem. Keep safe everyone, and always remember, there is a solution on every kind of problem existing in the world. God bless us.